I've seen the renderings of it. I know that it's under construction right now.
It's massive. It used to be a Catholic college.
I'm dying to come have a look. Are you kidding? Yeah, I'd love to.
Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, Juliette Lewis, Nancy Cartwright. They're all such lovely people. They don't have any experience of this. They would laugh. They say when they're told stories like this that, well, you're crazy. That's obscene. That's absurd.
Well,
what are you talking about?
they're not allowed to hear the bad news. When I was involved in staff, I wasn't allowed to read. I actually wasn't allowed to read any article, any newspaper article, or watch any TV show that was critical of Scientology.
Maureen Bolstad is just one of 7 former Scientologists who fronted this press conference in Los Angeles. I couldn't help noticing the one cameraman ignoring all their stunning claims.
Then why are you filming people going into the conference? It's okay.
Same reason you would be.
Well, but I'm not. So there is no reason I would be. What's your reason? Can I ask what your reason is, filming?
Well, same thing a journalist would do anyway.
Are you recording the faces and identities of people coming into this conference to put their names in a magazine or to report it to someone else back at Scientology?
No.
Meanwhile, back inside, Laura DiCrescenzo recounted how she signed a $1 billion-year contract with Scientology at the age of 7. Later, she claims she was forced to have an abortion.
I was told by the commanding officer of my organization that she immediately started telling me that at this point the baby wasn't a baby. It was just tissue. She started pushing how important my job was, how it would be so detrimental to the organization if I were to leave, how neither me or my husband had any money, nor would we when we left if we had children. And after 2 days of this, I conceded and had an abortion. About a week and a half ago, I went in for a deposition, and the lawyer for the Church of Scientology actually asked me, he kept rewording questions to get me to say that I agreed to have an abortion.
If you want to say I'm bitter about anything, yeah, I'm bitter about being physically attacked by the head of Scientology, David Miscavige. I would say that may be a little bitter.
And we've only just begun. Let's ensure it's a new beginning for every being of Earth.
I don't expect the head of a religion to physically assault and threaten his staff the way that man does. He is the antithesis of a religious leader, as far as I'm concerned.
A Scientologist for 35 years, Jeff Hawkins has added his voice to that of several other high-ranking ex-Scientologists who claim their leader, David Miscavige, is an emotionally and physically aggressive brute. A series of claims Tommy Davis dismisses as complete fabrications.
They are definitely making it up. For example, Jeff Hawkins, this is somebody who was dismissed from the church for gross misconduct, unbecoming of a member of the religious order. He knows what he did, and you can ask him.
So he's making it up?
He absolutely is making it up.
Off camera, Tommy told us we've done more stories on Scientology than anyone else in the world. It was never our intention. When we first started investigating Scientology nearly 3 years ago, we never dreamed we'd end up here in California looking for answers. First, one came forward, then a handful, then more, all across the world, making extraordinary claims of serious abuse. Scientology simply says all of these ex-members are liars. All of them. After the press conference, Scientology swung into action. They've supplied us with dirt files on 2 of the people we interviewed. It's a stark contrast to the bright, white, clean manufacturing plant just opened in LA to produce millions of books and CDs to send as far away as London, Perth, Melbourne and Sydney.
Yeah, Australia. Croydon.
Finally, we arrive at Mecca. This is Scientology's holiest of holies. It's called the Flag Land Base. It's in Clearwater, Florida, about a 5-hour drive from Miami.
Oh, wow. So this is the Crystal Ballroom?
Scientologists from around the world have to come here to study the upper levels. We weren't allowed to film in the courses room, where some were making action figures out of plasticine, while others were doing practice counselling sessions staring at stuffed clowns and animals to simulate a real person opposite.
And thought actually has weight or mass to it, and so when somebody thinks of something that has potentially some significance or
Thought has
upset,
a weight or a mass to it.
Yeah.
That's a theory, though, isn't it?
well, that's how we
belief.
operate in
That's a
Scientology.
belief, yeah. That's a belief. But that's not been proven in science, has it? Thought doesn't have weight and mass in science.
This is a religion, it's not a science.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Supposing that thought doesn't have a weight or a mass, then that would render this machine useless.
Yeah, okay. What's the point?
This is just one of the 54 properties Scientology owns in Clearwater, a new $80 million facility built from the ground up. It will draw Scientologists the world over to study here while they stay at the 5-star Scientology hotel next door. It will cater for up to 5,000 followers at any one time, relieving them of their alien thetan clusters and some of their cash, hundreds, thousands of dollars a pop. I'd love to be able to show people so that people can judge for themselves whether or not you make too much money, whether or not you make money the right way, whether or not your costs are properly being spent. I guess just judge what kind of group you are. But we can't really do that. We have to take your word for it.
Well, here's the thing: is that you're. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Clearly you don't think it's all right, and you have your view on it.
What I think doesn't matter, Tommy.
But the point is,
what I think does not matter.
Yeah.
I'd love to see the books.
But in terms of how you conduct yourself, it's obvious that you have opinions on it, and that's okay. And I accept
my opinions have nothing to do
with
my reporting on Scientology.
But the thing is that when you ask questions like that, you're engaged in an advocacy for people who are attacking the church, because factually, people who are actually giving the money and the Scientologists who are in the church and who are donating to the church, they're very happy about it. If people don't want to donate,
I know.
they
Nancy
can leave.
Cartwright loves donating money.
They can leave.
Just leave. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Some who've done it tell horror stories of being cut off from family and friends left behind, followed, threatened. Mark Headley made a break for it in 2005.
They chased me down the highway as I was heading into the local town, and they insisted that I come back. They're yelling at me out the window, "You got to come back. You can't leave. Think about what you're doing." And I just refused. Continued to drive on, and they actually ran me off the road on my motorcycle.
Mark left behind his wife Claire, but a few weeks later she too escaped, and they remained together, trying to educate those whom they say are still trapped in a web of senseless lies.
The end goal is to be I suppose I would put it I was saying happiness, and my true selfness.
Wouldn't that be cool if we were all just really functioning and there weren't any wars and we were treating each other with respect and love and we were ethical? And I mean, isn't that a world we'd all want to live in?
Tommy had a camera crew filming me as I filmed him. Will they now use it to attack me? Tommy said he couldn't think how or why he would. Despite the time I've spent with Tommy, I'm left with lingering questions. The most important one is one that you, watching this, will have to answer for yourself. Who and what do you believe?
In Scientology, we believe that anybody's abilities are potentially godlike.
That's Brian Seymour with that exclusive look inside Scientology, and tomorrow it gets nasty.
You're an advocate for the senator.
Tommy goes after Senator Nick Xenophon, calling him a liar and labelling his behaviour appalling. And the senator hits back.
Senator Xenophon used parliamentary privilege to essentially call for a witch hunt and abuse that parliamentary privilege to make unsubstantiated and unsupported accusations.
This is about the victims. This is about people who've been treated terribly. This is about protecting people from harm.
We'll have that and more on the church's plans for Australia tomorrow.